bios. Oh, this one works just fine. All right, then I'm going to give this to Wes because this feels awkward. Thanks, man. So bios are a weird thing. You give them your stuff, and they look up stuff, and then they say whatever they want anyway. So it was great, all the stuff you read. I wrote some of it. Some of it. Dude, work with me here. Throw me a bone. Jesus, good Lord in heaven. I'm just curious, by applause, how many folks have read the article in the UM Interpreter about after hours? Thank you. My family's here. That's cool. Okay. How many read the article in the Reporter? Thank you, Rob. That's cool. How many of you saw the YouTube video? How many of you have no idea who the hell I am? None whatsoever. There you go. These are my people. These are the ones. So everything Rob said, After Hours Denver's about 18 months old, and we are a missional church plant. We are there to go into a community to find out where their pain is and to be with them in it and to try to figure out the best way to help alleviate it. We are having a blast doing it. It has been really, really fun. This is one of our, we only have like 2 or 3 pieces of promotional material. We got this done at Hatch Printing in Nashville. There you go. Somebody who lives in Nashville, I'm hoping. They're the ones that do all the ads for the Grand Ole Opry, and they're just a little tiny shop. They're like 3 feet wide at the most, and you don't even get to design it. You give them all the information. They go, listen, if you're coming to us, you like what we do, we'll design it. So we were on the phone for about an hour and a half, and they said, tell me what After Hours does. I need we church in a bar, blah, 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 blah. So then they send back this thing, and I'm like, who's the little dude? And they're like, well, you said you do church in a bar, and he's got the beer, so we thought that was cool. And I'm like, Karl Barth said one time, every preacher should preach with a newspaper in one hand and the Bible in the other. And I thought, okay, what do we need? We need to add one thing. She goes, let me see what I got. And she comes back, and she goes, I added a halo. I'm like, awesome. That's perfect. There is something you may notice on there. There's no cross anywhere on there. And you won't find the word church anywhere on there. Whoever it was that was talking earlier, I think it was Justin, that was awesome about church language. And it's funny, the 2 things that we are so passionate about in many ways, Jesus and the cross and church, are the very things that turn a lot of people off. And so this is a marketing tool, and we thought, well, the people that we want to market to aren't people that are already in church, that are loving church, so we're going to take those things away. And we've had great luck with it. There's a bishop in the ELCA named Mike Reinhold, and he's got a great quote. He says, the turnaround of the mainline church will happen when we in those churches care as much about the people outside the church as we do about the people inside the church. In order to embrace relevance, we will have to let go of survival. And the very people many times that have to make that decision are the ones that would either be surviving or not. So it is a tough conversation to have. This is how we're trying to be relevant. This is called Christmas in the Park. This is our 4th year of doing this. It started 4 years ago when I realized usually by noon on Christmas Day I'm so sick of my family I can barely stand them. And I thought I can't be the only one. And as you can clearly see, I'm not. But literally we went down to the park and we said, if people were like, what do you want to do? And I said, you know what? It's going to suck to be homeless any day, but especially on Christmas. I said, let's just go down there and do our thing, man. Give away stuff on Christmas Day at noon. Somebody else was like, so can anybody do that? And we're like, sure. I said, what do you need? I said, I don't know, bring a card table and whatever you want to bring. I don't care. They said, oh, okay. So first year we had like 5 or 6 people show up. Next year we had more people show up. Next year we had more people. This year we had over 300 homeless show up and more than 200 volunteers of families, friends, cousins that brought we gave away 200 winter coats, 200 backpacks, 200 sleeping bags. People showed up with tables with just like hand warmers and boots. One family said, you know what, we spent the whole year saving. They brought 336 pair of men's underwear. Little awkward, I will grant you, but it's a creepy choice. But nonetheless, it was It was awesome because they put them in like Ziploc bags and handed out. They had so many they could hand out 3-packs. And people were like this. One family brought oranges. One family brought tamales. I mean, it was just nuts. It was nuts. And really, we only do it for one reason. And it's the reason really that's at the center of After Hours in so many ways, and it's this. We create joy. Especially in lives that have so little of it. I mean, you look at that dude in the IKEA gave us the blue bags, which is pretty awesome. We're like, that's really cool. But then I thought, wow, every homeless in the city is carrying an IKEA bag. That's really cool. The irony that a company that provides like bedroom sets, and nonetheless, the homeless are walking around with their bags, so without bedrooms. But you look at that face and you're like, I could do this every day of the year. That's what it looks like when we are the hands and feet of Christ in the world. We do lunches in Civic Center Park right in front of the state capitol. We hand out between 400 and 500 lunches every week. We partner with 7 other churches, 2 other corporations, and one family that just said, we'll do it. We'll get all the families on our block to fill in the days. And so it's been really, really awesome. We hand out lunch, and we hand out water, and we hand out socks. And that's great, but there's 31 other places in Denver that do that. Oddly enough, on the weekend, it goes down to 6. On Sunday, there's none. So the big thing was this was great. We're doing food and water and socks, but that's not what makes us different. That's not what makes us collectively as a body different. This is. We also give away communion. And we give away communion as a reminder to people who so often have been told they are not worthy. We do it as a reminder that says, no, you are loved by God. You always have been loved by God. You'll never stop being loved by God. And so this is how we separate ourselves from other agencies and what they do. And we'll give away maybe 100 lunches in about 7 minutes. And of those people, probably about 60, 70%. Does that sound right, Elizabeth? About 60 or 70%? I mean, I would think more, just over half will take communion. And the rest are like, no, not today. And I always tell them, we're ready when you're ready. We hand out peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and we give them away at a pretty quick clip, as you can see, 100 in 7 minutes. And I remember we gave away all the lunches. Everything was gone. But we had some individual sandwiches left. So I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a Ziploc, and I was like, okay, here's the thing. We'll just put it on the communion table, and then whoever comes will grab it. And I can see this kid, literally, couldn't have been older than 20, tops, running across the park. And clearly was either a junkie or runaway homeless something. He run across the park, and he gets over, and he goes, are you done? Are you done yet? And I said, no, man, you are really lucky. We've got 1 sandwich left. And he goes, oh, I already ate. Are you still doing communion? And I was like, wow, shame on me. I mean, because I thought he was hungry for something completely different than what he was actually hungry for. We usually just have a line, and it's usually me doing communion, and then lunches, and then water, and then socks. And so I can usually see the guys a little bit ahead of time, and I could see this one guy. And you know how you can tell when somebody's been crying, even when they say they haven't been crying, but you can see they got red eyes and everything, and I can see his eyes are red. And he gets up, and I say the same thing to everybody when I give him communion. This is a reminder of how much God loves you. This is a reminder of how much God loves you. I looked at this guy, and I said, this is a reminder of how much God loves you. And he looks at me, and he just looks up, and he just goes, still? Still? I was like, yeah. And he kind of took that in and just went on down the road. There is such a sense of worthlessness in our world. It is magnified in the homeless community, but I guarantee there are people in every one of our faith communities that are thinking this. Still? This is a quote by Andy Warhol. It says, you have to do stuff that average people don't understand because those are the only good things. I wouldn't go so far as to say they're the only good things, but I will say this. Everybody in this room is here because you want to see some changes. You want to do things different. And I'm saying it's not about thinking outside the box. It's about blowing up the box. It is. In fact, do you know how not outside the box it is to say we should think outside the box? My grandmother says we should think outside the box. You got to do things completely different. And whoever it was that said, I think, was it Sarah here? Sarah, when she said, you got to take the chance. Take the chance. So what if you fail? Give it a shot. So we got to keep doing things constantly different. There was a time when your parents or your grandparents, if they wanted a beer, this is what they got. Maybe if they lived in a big city, they could pick between Budweiser and Miller Lite. That's what beer was. This is beer now. This is what beer looks like now. Nice. Raise the roof for beer. All right. But here's the thing. I think what we've been doing more than anything else is that Budweiser put Bud in the bottle or in the can or in the keg. It's still Budweiser. Doesn't matter how you package it. It's still Budweiser. Some people think Budweiser sucks. They just don't like it. So no matter how you package it up, it's not going to work. Some people like Espresso Oak Age Yeti Imperial Stout by Great Divide. They just do. They do. Here's the thing. That's never going to be as big as Budweiser. And that's okay. I think we need to find a way to go, I don't know about rave ministry. I don't know if that's ever going to really blow up. I don't know. Are we going to get Church of the Resurrection size worship in a rave? And then if we don't, it fails? Oh, epic drag. We have to decide, you know what? There is ministries that look all shapes and sizes, and size of the ministry is not the final dictator. It is not. We got to be willing to be the Espresso OK Jetty Imperial Stout. We have to do it. This is our pretty much our whole marketing. We do beer coasters that look like this, and they're my business cards. I just stamp them on the back, and we have bartenders hand them out all over the city, and we use them for drink coupons in the bars. It's like Jesus turned water into wine. Have a drink on us, and we give them the coaster, and they go about doing their thing, which is really kind of fun. And they're like, "It's odd the pastor just bought me a beer." So, but it's a way of connecting with people, because we sometimes get freaked out and creeped out by alcohol. Most people don't. And of course, people always say, "Well, what about folks who are battling addictions?" We got a number of people in our church that are fighting with addictions. And one of them said to me, he said, "Jerry, I used to come here and get blasted all the time." He says, "And now I come here with my family." He says, "I have literally reframed what this building means to me now. I thought we were a resurrection people. This is a guy that looked at the bar and said, at one time this was that, and now it's this." So we love doing church in bars. This is the ad. We put these up in urinals. I don't know if Justin and Rob saw these when you were doing your man hug, but just an image burned into my mind forever that will not go away. So we work with a company, and they put them over the urinals and in the stalls, and it's really hard to read, so I'll read it to you. It just says, "Come hang out with us in a bar as we make lunches for the homeless, drink beer, and talk about God. It's like church without the parts that suck." Yeah. And then it just says, "Redefining happy hour. We think we've got good news. You should be happy." So we tell people this is a joyous thing that we're doing. And my email's down there, which says goddoesntsuck@gmail.com. And so I will get emails always on like Sunday and Monday. It's like, "Dude, I don't remember what your ad said exactly," because chances are they were pretty well lit when they were in the bathroom. "But I remembered your email was God Doesn't Suck. Tell me about your church and what's going on." It's really fun to get to think outside the box. And I will tell you, as much as we all want to be, crazy outside the box thinkers, we all work for the GM of churches. The United Methodist Church is a big corporation. So you have to have infrastructure that supports thinking and letting you do cool things like this. And I'm just really, really blessed that After Hours has got that. And we've got people at that level that allow us to think like this. I think it's important that we do service in the world. That's what missional church is to me. I think it's important that we sell it, whether it's on coasters or using the bathrooms or whatever it is to do it. We have been so taught not to sell. We have been taught, man, that Micah 6, I just walk humbly with the Lord. It's like, I get that. I do. But there's nothing wrong with selling God as long as it's God that you're selling. And so I'm like, we got to be able to sell the church, make Jesus famous. That was an awesome line. But I think you do that through narrative theology. I think you tell people, where's God showing up? And this young lady is named Whitney Bradford. She was a student at University of Denver. She came up. I'm just going to tell you about a couple people and I'll get out of here. She went to University of Denver. She heard about what we do in the park. And she came to me and she said, I'll hand out your sandwiches and stuff, but I don't want any of your Jesus crap. She goes, I'm not going to do it with all the God stuff. And I'm like, well, why do you do it? And she goes, because it's the right thing to do. You help people. She goes, but I'm not real big on you shoving Jesus down people's throat. And I said, we don't do that unless we're giving them communion. Okay, no. Thank you. Tip your servers. Good night, everybody. Yep. No, but I was like, I could tell, and you can see Whitney's like not real big, but she's got good hand speed, and I was like, I'm not gonna mess with her, so I'm fine. I said, Whitney, you can hand out the water bottles. So she does it, and she's like way super serious, and we think we're like, church, lighten up, so we're all having a good time, and she's like grabbing the water out of the cases, and people are walking by, and she's like going, giving them the water bottles, but she keeps showing up week after week. She keeps showing up. And after a while, she can see we're having a really good time. And so she's trying, but it's not her nature at all, So she's like grabbing a water bottle and she's going. Baby steps, she's getting there. But one week, literally, we're doing our thing and I can feel the lines backing up. And I look over and there's nobody handing out the water. I said, has anybody seen Whitney? And they go, oh, she's over there. And she was doing this. This was taken like 3 weeks after the first time she did it. Fancy church people call this a ministry of presence. Whitney didn't know what to call it. She called it a guy was sitting there by himself, and she went over and talked to him. And that became kind of Whitney's thing. That was her post, was to talk to people all the time, just to go out and just meet them and be in relationship with them and live in their pain. There's another guy that comes down the park, doesn't look anything like Whitney. He's about 6'2", long black leather coat, black leather cowboy hat, studded boots. I am not kidding you. On the back of his jacket, he has printed The Undertaker. That's what it says on his jacket. And he would come down in the park, and he wouldn't even acknowledge us when he'd come down. He would just come down. He would just grab a water. He'd just grab water and go like this. We didn't say a word, man. We just like, do your thing. That's fine. All means all. So we're like, fine. But after a while, when we don't say anything, and we're still being friendly to him, he starts making baby steps in, so he starts giving it. He grabs the water, but he'll give us like the cool guy head nod, kind of go. Eh. So I'm trying to be cool. I'm doing it too. I'm like, and my wife's like, don't do that. You look like you're having a seizure or something, so please don't do that. So week after week, we just kept loving him where he was. About 9 months ago, Undertaker starts helping us unload the cars to hand out the food to the other folks in the park. Love one another as I've loved you. Some of you know who Henry Nouwen is. He was a priest that worked at Harvard, and he left there so he could work with a community of mentally disabled folks. And I love this quote. He says, we need someone to share our pain, to touch our wounds. Undertaker needs us to share his pain a lot more than he needs a pair of white athletic socks. That's what we are called to go out in the world and do. Martin Luther said, we are to be little Christs. That's the way we do it. This is After Hours Denver. This is one of our locations. We're in 3 different spots. Every Monday we change locations. We're like kind of a floating crap game for Jesus. That's kind of, we just keep moving around all the time. And somebody pointed out to me, they said, actually, no, you're a circuit rider. They said, that's really what that is. We actually only do 2 things well. After Hours Denver, we go to the park and we give people food, and we remind them that God loves them. And we go to bars and we give people drink, and we remind people that God loves them. I don't think we have to overthink it. I really don't. The last guy I'll tell you about, this guy's name is Cecil. He is one of my first teachers down in the park, and a war vet. And I said, how are you doing one day? And he goes, oh, we're awesome. Because we're doing great. We found a pallet, so we don't have to actually be on the ground. We're lifted up off the ground a little bit. We're right next to this dumpster with a tarp, so we block the wind, and we don't get wet. He goes, we're in an alley that has lights and a camera because right next to a pawn shop. He goes, so we're golden. He goes, some of these poor bastards out here are in real trouble. I'm like, you're next to a dumpster in an alley, and you're great? Who's teaching who about gratitude? I have 5 kinds of pasta on the top of my fridge. And if we're missing one, I get pissed. I'm like, where's the penne? Jesus. How can I live like this? Yeah. And then I meet people like Cecil. Last thing, and then I'll go. Remember I told you about Undertaker, who did all those things. It's kind of a bad guy. After asking him more than 200 times, about 6 months ago for the first time, Undertaker took communion in Civic Center Park. Love one another as I have loved you. We have got one big question in front of us. Are we trying to get people to go to church? Or are we trying to connect people to God? Depending on what our answer is, will depend on our survival. Thanks for letting me do this. Thanks.